So, welcome to all of you, whoever is watching this lecture. In today's lecture, we'll be deriving Newton's second law of rotation. We can call this law analogous to the Newton's second law of motion, which is F is equal to ma. Now, straightforwardly, I'll just derive. Suppose this is any object, any rigid body of any arbitrary shape, and it is hinged at this point, which we can also call as axis of rotation. Now a force is applied at this point. So when we apply the force at this point, the rigid body will rotate in the clockwise direction. And when it will rotate in the clockwise direction, so if we take any particle here, suppose this is the particle A, having some mass dm, 1, and at a distance of r1 from the axis. So this particle will move in a circular path because the axis is fixed, and then this particle will move along a circular path as I have shown in this diagram. Now as this particle will move, there will be two accelerations acting on the particle. One acceleration, which is tangential acceleration at, which I can call as r1 alpha, and another acceleration is the centripetal acceleration, which I can write as r1 omega square. So on this dm1, the net force df1 will be dm1 into tangential acceleration plus centripetal acceleration. This will be df. So df1 will be equal to dm1 into tangential acceleration is r1 alpha along the tangential axis, so I can write it as t cap, and centripetal acceleration is r1 omega square, and it is along the radial axis, so I can write it as minus r cap. Now this force which is acting on this particle, if I have to find the torque of this force, so simply I can draw the position vector. The position vector will be this. So the position vector r1 has a magnitude of r1, and it is along r cap, radial direction. Now the torque d tau 1, it will be r1 cross df1, which is r1 r cap cross dm1 r1 alpha e cap minus r1 omega square r cap. So d tau 1. So here d tau 1 will be equal to dm1 r1 and r1 alpha. It gives r1 square alpha and r cap cross t cap. This will give us minus k cap because it is in the clockwise direction. And the second part is r cap cross r cap. So it will give us 0. So the only torque which we will be getting will be d tau 1 equal to dm1 r1 square alpha and minus k. It is simply representing that it is along the clockwise direction. In the similar manner, if I take another particle 2 whose mass is dm2 and it is at a distance r2 from the axis, so the torque on the second particle will be minus dm2 r2 square alpha and k cap. On the third particle, if I take another particle 3 which is at a distance r3, so on the third particle d tau 3 will be minus dm3 r3 square alpha and k cap. So we can just find out the torque on all the particles. There will be ideally we can say infinite number of particles. So the total torque which we represent by tau, it will be integration of all the d tau, or we can write it like d tau 1 plus d tau 2 plus d tau 3, and this will carry on up to infinity. So we can write the total torque as d tau 1 we can write as dm1 r1 square alpha and minus k cap minus d m2 r2 square alpha k cap, then minus dm3 r3 square alpha k cap, and so on. This will carry on up to infinity. So torque is simply minus k cap, which gives us the direction, and summation of bmi ri square and alpha, where I is equal to 1 to infinity. Or I can write it like torque is equal to integration of r square into dm, this whole thing, into alpha and minus e. So the magnitude of the torque will be simply integration of r square dm, because we know that addition up to infinity is actually integration itself, this whole thing, into alpha. Now here we have got a mathematical thing. The mathematical thing is integration of r square dm or summation of r square dm I ri, and I is equal to 1 to infinity. This thing is known as capital I. Capital I meaning moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. This moment of inertia is not a property of the body. It is simply a mathematical concept. In this, when we have derived, we have got a mathematical thing in the form of integration of r square dm. And this integration of r square dm, we call it as I, or moment of inertia. The SI unit of this moment of inertia is kg meter square, because dm has a unit of kg and r square has a unit of meter square. So we can write the magnitude of torque as I into alpha. This I into alpha, this equation is known as Newton's second law of rotation. If you just have a look at it, you can very easily see that the Newton's second law of translation or motion was F is equal to ma. Now the analogy that we can put here is that this torque is playing the role of force, moment of inertia is playing the role of mass, and angular acceleration is playing the role of linear acceleration. So what is this moment of inertia? What we'll do is we'll study a little about it. It is basically a very vast topic, and we will be dealing about it in greater detail in the next few chapters, a few classes. Moment of inertia. But I believe that in the previous lectures I have already spoken about this. So I assume that you might have watched those lectures. So directly I'll come to the applications of this. Moment of inertia, the symbol is I. We knew it was I is equal to summation of mr square, and there were many things related to this. If you view my earlier lectures on moment of inertia, all the things will be clear to you all. But the Newton's second law is torque is equal to I alpha. We can also make it more specific by saying that the net torque is equal to I alpha. Now, suppose I make a very simple numerical we solve. Suppose this is a ring. It has a mass m and radius r. Now, if a force F acts at this point of the ring and it is hinged at this point, so we are asked to find out, the question here is find out the angular acceleration of the ring. So what we can do is we can see that force is acting at this point. The perpendicular distance of the force, like this is r, and the angle between F and R is theta. The torque will be F into R into sine 90. Torque will be Fr. The moment of inertia of the ring about this hinge or the center of mass is mr square. So we can use the equation torque is equal to I alpha. Torque will be F into R. I will be mr square into alpha. So alpha will be equal to F upon mr. So let us have a look at this problem. In this problem, there is a disk having mass m, radius r, and two forces are acting at two different points. One force is acting at this point, another force is acting at the bottom point, and it is hinged at the center. So the question which they are asking is find the angular acceleration of the disk. So in this case, as you can see, that the first force is acting at the point, suppose I call it as A. So the distance will be R and the angle will be 90. So the torque of the first force I write as tau 1. It is F into R. And we can see that this force is trying to rotate the body in the clockwise direction. So I write here bracket C or clockwise. Now the second force, if we have a look at the second force is acting at this point, suppose it is B, and this is R. So the torque of the second force will again be F into R into sine 90. And this second force, as we can see, it is also trying to rotate the body in the clockwise direction. So again I write here C. So the total torque, as both the torques are in the clockwise direction, so the total torque will be Fr plus Fr means 2Fr. And as this is a disk, the hinge is passing through the center. So the moment of inertia will be half mr square because it is for the disk. So torque is equal to IL. Now torque is 2Fr. I is half mr square into alpha. Now if I try to solve it, 1 r gets cancelled with r. So it will be 4F upon the angular acceleration in this case will be 4F upon mr. So let us have a look at one more question. The question is that a hollow sphere of mass 1 kg and radius 10 centimeter is free to rotate about its diameter. If a force of 30 Newton is applied tangentially to it, find its angular acceleration. So they have drawn a hollow sphere. The hollow sphere has mass 1 kg and radius 10 centimeter. So the moment of inertia of the hollow sphere about its diameter. This is the axis which is passing through the diameter. The moment of inertia will be 2 by 3 mr square. So I will put the values later. First, I'll just try to solve. Now they are saying that if a force of 30 Newton is applied tangentially to it, so what happens is, suppose there is a thread which is tied like this, and the force is applied in this direction. 30 newtons. So it is tangentially. So this will make the hollow sphere rotate, as you can see in the diagram. So the torque, this is the center, the axis. The perpendicular distance from the axis will be r itself. So the torque will be F into R. We will write F is equal to 30 newtons later. Now torque is equal to I alpha. So torque is F into R. I is 2 by 3 mr square into alpha. R and R will get cancelled. So alpha will be 3F upon 2 mr. So it will be 3 into force is 30 newtons upon 2. Mass is 1 kg and radius is 10 centimeters. So centimeter, when we divide by 100, we get it in meters. So this will give us 15 into 3 is 45 and 450. So alpha will be 450 radian per second square. So let us have a look at one more question. The question says that a wheel having moment of inertia 4 kg meter square about its symmetrical axis rotates at the rate of 240 rpm about. The torque which can stop the rotation of the wheel in 1 minute is. Now here they have given the value of I, 4 kg meter square, and they have given omega naught. The value of omega naught is 240 revolutions per minute. So we can convert this into the SI unit. For converting revolution to radian, I have to multiply with 2 pi. And for converting minute to second, I have to divide by 60. So this will give us 8 pi radian per second. They have asked the torque which can stop the rotation. So for stopping the rotation, the final omega should be 0. And in 1 minute, so the time is 60 seconds. So the value of alpha will be omega minus omega naught upon t. So it will be 0 minus 8 pi on 60. So we can write the value of alpha again. It will be minus 8 pi upon 60. So 4 2s are 8 and 4 15s are 60. So it is minus 2 pi upon 15 because it is retardation. So the torque will be I alpha. I was 4 and alpha was minus 2 pi upon 15. So the retarding torque in this case will be minus 8 pi upon 15. So the option 2 in this case is correct.